Hi everyone, welcome to my review of San Andreas, directed by Peyton from 2015. So yes, we are back once again, ready to discuss my film on the channel. This time around, we're here for a disaster film, San Andreas, and this is a film that I've been wanting to see for quite a few years, actually, and yeah, finally got around to this a few weeks ago, and yeah, really like disaster films, of course, you know, love them when they're at the best, and yeah, it was something I just wanted to, you know, I was in the mood to see, and yeah, we'd like to discuss this film today on the channel, but first of all, there will be a spoiler warning for this discussion. If everyone's in this film, I simply recommend seeing it first, and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. We can talk about this from the comments, and yeah, celebrate cinema. And so yeah, with what I said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film, and yeah, this is the one I'll get straight into it. You know, I did really enjoy it, and you know, I found it to just be a really entertaining film, epic, and you know, I loved at times the visuals to this, and just the whole kind of adventure of this, and how kind of well done at times it was as a disaster film. And the film was set around the scenario of the San Andreas fault, kind of triggering this earthquake, and you know, a series of earthquakes actually in the film. And yeah, we have this seismologist played by Paul Giamatti, and you know, he's essentially kind of doing this research, and you know, him and his partner, Dr. You know, Park, kind of around the Hoover Dam, and you know, kind of doing this research here, and yeah, unfortunately, you know, which was kind of to my surprise, Dr. Park, you know, this kind of partner of Paul Giamatti, you know, research partner, who kind of dies in this kind of sequence. And from there we have the main setup of the characters, including Ray, of course, this helicopter search and rescue pilot, and you know, kind of, you see him at the beginning, you know, this kind of really campy moment where he's kind of performing this, yeah, search and rescue kind of mission, and you know, essentially from there we follow him. You know, the setup kind of shows he's not with his wife at this point, and you know, played by Carla, Gugino, and as well we have Blake, the daughter, played by Alexandra, Daddario, and you know, Blake is someone who, you know, kind of, you know, is quite close obviously to her dad, but you know, we have this kind of whole, you know, kind of separation, you know, scenario. We also have lone Gruffudd in the film as Daniel, and you know, it's kind of this new partner, obviously, you know, of the wife Emma, and yeah, essentially we have this kind of friction, you know, and all these different characters being set up, but quite funny, obviously, and yeah, I think just really investing at first. And obviously Dwayne Johnson in this film is just so great, and I just really loved him in this film. Obviously it's Ray, and the main character, and you know, I just really like how this is set up, and you know, he kind of goes off, and then obviously Blake, the daughter, is kind of trapped at one point from the, you know, main earthquake and all everything that arises from you know, that in the film, and you know, she's trapped and she's in danger, and essentially we have you know, basically for the rest of the film, you know, Ray and Emma, of course, are kind of teaming up, just kind of putting their differences aside, you know, for this, you know, trying to save their daughter, of course, with this disaster strikes, obviously this magnitude 9.1 earthquake that's triggered by the San Andreas fault, and yeah, that's the main bulk of the film. All the things that arise from this, you know, it's a disaster film kind of begins, and yeah, I think it's just really well set up, as I say, with these kind of hints, you know, that something bigger is going to happen, you know, this earthquake, and you know, all along the San Andreas fault line, and yeah, it's just so well done, and I think Paul Giamatti as well, you know, when he's kind of building this up and giving some, you know, basic facts, but you know, just something that does, you know, kind of get the film going in that sense, and you know, it's really cool to kind of see how he's kind of delivering this speech at first, and you know, to his students and all this, and it's just really well done, really charming, and you know, I will say, I think, you know, Paul Giamatti's kind of storyline, you know, in the middle of the film, it kind of dropped off a bit. I guess I just wanted to see a bit more of Paul Giamatti, you know, and his team, you know, in the film, and I think what was there was, you know, quite investing, but I just think it could have been developed a bit further, and we do cut back to Paul Giamatti, yeah, you know, his character, and various different, you know, members of the research team, you know, at different points in the film, and it does, you know, show me the end, but it just wasn't quite enough for me, and I just would have liked a bit more character development and time dedicated to this kind of aspect of the film. But obviously we have Ray, we have Blake in the film, and you know, Emma, and I think, you know, this kind of way in which you know, these two, you know, kind of parents team up, put all the differences aside, yeah, kind of thing, and just to rescue their daughter. And I do really like how lone Gruffudd, you know, in the film, Daniel, you know, he plays as kind of appears to be all, you know, kind of nice at first, you know, within the family, and you know, some really funny, charming interactions between him and Blake, Daniel, but then we do have, you know, soon into the film, as soon as the disaster kind of begins, you know, he kind of ditches, you know, Blake, and just runs off, kind of thing, and leaves her, just, you know, to kind of, yeah, just to kind of fend for herself when she's trapped, of course, and he kind of knows this, and he just runs off, and that's his character in the rest of the film. It's just him kind of running, and you know, kind of throwing people aside, kind of just kind of portraying everyone really, just people that are in the street, and just kind of trying to be all out for himself in that sense, but it's done kind of really funny way, and you know, I think just the way, you know, as well, he does kind of perish, that was quite funny, but just the way in which you know, Emma is kind of really just kind of angry, Daniel, and she instantly turns back to Ray, as the kind of man to rescue Blake. And this was so funny the way it's done, I must admit. And I just really enjoyed though, this kind of aspect of the film. And I think just as the disaster kind of begins, and we've got all the buildings collapsing and all this kind of stuff. I thought that was really well done. We also have Hugo Johnston-Burt in the film playing Ben Taylor, and we have his younger brother Ollie, and played by Art Parkinson. And this was a really funny aspect of the film. These two kind of British brothers, and it's just so funny, and they're really over the top as well, in some of the ways their characters interacting, and just the way kind of especially these characters kind of meet Blake for the first time in the building where Daniel is. From there we have this kind of romance that's formed, and I think just when Blake is kind of in trouble, obviously Ben just kind of goes to rescue her, and him and Ollie obviously kind of help her and get her out of the building, and from then they're kind of together throughout the rest of the film, this kind of trio of characters, and we've got obviously Ray and Emma, elsewhere, kind of trying to rescue Blake and get to her, and as well, obviously, Paul Giamatti and his kind of partners, his kind of team of researchers, also we cut back, as I say, to them, and I think it was a nice balance between these groups, just showing them individually, and kind of character development, especially for Ray and Emma, and also. Blake, Ben, and Ollie. I did really enjoy them together, and as at the end, when they kind of meet together, kind of form up in that final act, and they kind of interact there. I did really enjoy that, to finally see that, and it's kind of really well done there, and it was quite satisfying to see that as well. And I just think throughout the film, the visual effects to this, are really impressive, and I think just as a disaster film, this is really really fun, and epic in places. You've got just really over the top moments, especially at first. I really found the kind of Hoover Dam sequence to be really funny, and even though it was really sad, I did want to see more of Dr. Park in the film. I thought it would have been more interesting if he actually kind of made it out of that sequence, and he wasn't in the rest of the film. But I think just some really funny moments throughout, and also really tense kind of epic moments. I think one of the highlights of the film is definitely the tsunami sequence, where of course we have that massive tsunami coming in, and obviously. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's kind of, Ray is kind of saying, all the water getting, pulled out, by the bay, means a tsunami, and, we kind of knew it was coming, and, just kind of driving out of the bay, and then loads of boats kind of going towards the tsunami there, and he says, we've got to get, over this before it crests, and it's just that whole bit there where they're kind of driving up on the boat, up the tsunami there, and all the kind of ships and kind of containers and all this, kind of just going everywhere around them, and they're dodging all the stuff and going up the tsunami there. That is just so epic, and also absolutely insane in the way it's done, and I thought it was just so much fun, this part of the film. And in that sequence as well, we have the final kind of shot of Lone Gruffudd, his character Daniel, and just the kind of look, and then the container falling on him and crushing him. That was so funny in the way it's done. And just throughout the film, there's loads of epic parts, like this, that are kind of really full on, kind of intense, but also really, really funny and campy in the way they're done. And I think the film finds a really nice balance between this. The tone is very good, throughout, very consistent, and just my kind of disaster film really at times. And I definitely think there could have been more character development and more kind of fleshing out of different aspects of the film. And I would have liked to have seen a bit more kind of involved, with the kind of details and all this of the actual, the earthquakes. I think for what this film is, it's really effective, and it just kind of finds that tone, and consistently delivers really hilarious moments, really good enjoyable characters, especially obviously Ray and Emma as well in the film. And I did enjoy as well the kind of romance between kind of Ben Taylor and Blake in the film, and definitely some very very cringy moments in the film, but in the sense of funny cringy stuff that I was laughing at, and at the same time it was definitely quite awkward moments, and just when he says you're unbelievable, that line was just so funny, but also very cringy at times, but really enjoyed these kind of British brothers in the film, and just the way they're kind of done in this is so over the top, and I think just really warm though this film with the characters and the interactions. It's just the team up of various characters in the film, and kind of it has a lot of the kind of classic disaster kind of tropes, and I think it is also really quite unique in the way it's done, and the Rock in this is just so great, and it's just on top form here, and epic stuff, and really hilarious in the film. Just a character who, as a protagonist, really got behind and rooted for this character, and the way he's kind of really kind of heroic in the film, and again in a campy way, but it's just so investing, of him, and the way kind of him and you know, as I say, Emma team up to kind of rescue Blake and, you know, put all the differences aside and they just go for it and kind of make it throughout, you know, this, you know, insane disaster experience. And, yeah, it's kind of, in the end, they rescue Blake and also, yeah, the brothers as well, you know, kind of there with them, you know, in the end. And I thought that was really well done. And the final shots there were quite cool. And, you know, I think, as I say, some of the wrap up is not, you know, not quite there, you know, for some of the characters in the film, but I think overall for, you know, Ray and Emma and Blake, you know, and then its two brothers as well, you know, I thought that was really well done, and yeah, just visually throughout, you know, this film is really impressive, and as I say, the effects are great at times, and you know, I think just as well, it is shot quite well, and you know, I think it's definitely well directed and edited consistently, and yeah, just a really fun film, this one, and really epic in places. We've got some really kind of investing parts at the beginning of the film, the way it's set up, this whole kind of, you know, precursor to the main disaster of the film, and you know, I think just as well, you know, some of the lore in this and the way, you know, this is done. Paul Giamatti at first, it's really cool the way it's delivered, you know, and his character, you know, I thought, and his performance was definitely one of the standout parts of the film as well, and as I say, would have liked to have seen a bit more of him, you know, more kind of meaningful moments, you know, after that first kind of half of the film, but I thought, you know, for what it was, you know, this film was definitely a solid film, really enjoyable, and you know, I think some great moments in this visually, and yeah, it's just, you know, from start to finish, you know, a real epic, fun, campy ride of a film, and yeah, really cool and kind of you know, upbeat and jolly and kind of campy disaster film. And so overall, my rating for this film is a 73%. So a really high score from me, and as I say, consistently this one is just so enjoyable, and you know, I think, you know, The Rock in this was just, as I say, next level funny, and you know, just really charming, this character, and yeah, really epic stuff in this. You've got some insane kind of moments in this visually, and these different sequences in the film, especially, as I say, the tsunami sequence, that was just something else, and just you know, the visuals, as I say, to this film was so impressive, and just a really fun film, this one. Really charming characters at times, interactions, some, you know, really cool character development, and you know, I think just yeah, it's very investing for the most part, and you know, I think the way it started out and also the way it ended for the most part, it's just consistently enjoyable, you know, investing, and you know, fun campy ride, as I say, and yeah, really enjoyed this one, and you know, it's a really uplifting film to see, and some, you know, as I say, insane moments in this, you know, funny, silly moments, and also just, you know, the actual disaster, you know, and kind of the earthquakes and the tsunami, and all these kind of moments, you know, it's just next level insane stuff that happens in this film. Yeah, just really well made, and you know, I think the script was solid, and yeah, it's just some really, as I say, investing characters, and as an experience, you know, disaster film experience, I did really enjoy this one, and I had a good time watching this. So yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you think on this film? It'd be really cool to hear in the comments your thoughts on this, your experience with this film, and yeah, how does it compare for you to different disaster type films? Let's discuss this down below in the comments, and celebrate cinema. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.